Every job site in America has the same 14 guys. Doesn't matter what state you're in, doesn't matter what trade, doesn't matter if it's a residential remodel or a $100 million commercial build, same 14 guys every single time. You've worked with all of them. You are one of them. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly which one, and you're not going to like it. First up, the guy who's always almost done. You ask him where he's at. He says he's almost done. That was Tuesday. It's Friday. He is still almost done. He has been almost done on this same task long enough that you've started measuring geologic time in units of how almost done he is. You have walked past his work area at random intervals throughout the day, and every single time he's doing something that looks productive, holding something, measuring something, standing with his hands on his hips, evaluating something, and yet the task remains eternally at 90%, like a loading bar that is personally given up on you. Then there's the guy with the truck. He does not necessarily do good work. That's not the point. That has never been the point. The point is that he has the truck, the big one. With the ladder rack and the toolboxes and the diesel, you can hear coming from 4 blocks away like a weather event. He has strong opinions about that truck. He will tell you about the lift kit. He will tell you what he paid. He will tell you what it's worth now, which is a number he's clearly looked up recently and thought about at night. He will tell you all of this while you are actively carrying something heavy past him, and he will not offer to help because helping would require setting down the conversation. Number 3, the apprentice who asks 0 questions. This kid is genuinely terrifying. He doesn't ask anything ever. You hand him a task, he nods, he walks away, and you have absolutely no idea whether he understood a single word you said. Maybe he's a natural. Maybe he's about to do something so catastrophically wrong that it becomes a local news segment. There is no way to know until it's over. Schrodinger's apprentice, simultaneously competent and a disaster. And you don't find out which until the inspector shows up. Number 4, the guy who was here when they built this. He's been on this site longer than the foreman, longer than the general contractor, possibly longer than the building in a way you've decided not to think too hard about. He knows where every line runs, which parts of the original plans were wrong, and exactly which wall you should not cut into. He does not volunteer any of this. You have to ask. And if you don't ask and you cut into that wall, he'll watch you do the entire thing in complete silence. And then afterwards, standing over the damage, he'll say, "Yeah, I figured you knew." That's it. That's the whole conversation. He will not elaborate, and he will not feel bad about it. Number 5, the guy who's always late but somehow never in trouble. 20 minutes every day. 20 minutes. Not 30, which would be a problem. Not 10, which would be forgivable. 20. He has found the exact number that is annoying but not actionable, and he has been living in it for years. He walks in, says something vaguely about traffic, and starts working immediately with such natural confidence that questioning it feels somehow inappropriate. The foreman knows. The foreman has always known. Nothing has ever been said. At this point, saying something would be weirder than not saying it, and everyone involved understands this arrangement without ever having discussed it. Number 6, the guy who disappears for 45 minutes. He's here. Then he isn't. Then he is again. No explanation offered, none expected. Where does he go? Nobody knows. Everyone has a theory. The truck, the far end of the building, a supply run nobody requested. He returns with no evidence of having done anything and no guilt whatsoever, and immediately gets back to work like the gap in the timeline doesn't exist. The strangest part is that his work is always caught up, somehow. You've stopped trying to solve this. It's just a thing about him now, like his height. Number 7, the guy who would rather do it twice than ask. He doesn't know how to do it. He's not going to find out. He's going to make a decision, commit to it with total confidence, do it completely wrong, and then quietly redo the entire thing before anyone notices. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't, and now there's a hole in something structural. He has calculated that his pride is worth exactly the cost of materials plus 4 hours of his own unpaid time. And he has run this math many times and always reaches the same conclusion. Number 8, the coffee guy. Not a person, a role, a sacred office. Every crew has one guy who has taken personal responsibility for the coffee situation, and he takes it more seriously than anything else happening on this site. He knows everyone's order. He remembers who's cutting back. He has firm opinions about which gas station is acceptable and which one is, in his words, not it. Do not mess with this system. Do not offer to help. Do not suggest a different place. This man is holding the entire emotional infrastructure of this crew together with a cardboard tray, and he's fully aware of it. Number 9, the guy who explains your own trade to you. He's not in your trade. That's the beautiful part. He does something completely different, and yet he has extensive, deeply held thoughts about how you should be doing your job. He's watched videos. He helped his brother-in-law with something similar once. He's going to share some of this with you now, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. You have 2 options. Argue, which takes 20 minutes and changes nothing. Or nod, which takes 4 seconds. You learned to nod years ago. You will nod for the rest of your career. Number 10, the guy who's been hurt on every job site he's worked. Not seriously, that's the thing. Never seriously. But something always happens. He's got a story from every single site going back 15 years. And each one ends with him being fine, but having been very close to not being fine. The scaffold that shifted, the load that swung, the thing that fell exactly where he had been standing 4 seconds earlier. At some point you realize you've never worked a site with him where nothing happened, and you start to wonder whether he's extremely unlucky or whether the rest of you just aren't paying attention. Number 11, the guy who takes every job personally. Somebody scuffed his work. Somebody walked on it before it set. Somebody moved his ladder without asking. It's not about the ladder. He wants you to know it's not about the ladder. He will explain at length that this is about respect and about how nobody around here cares about the craft anymore and about how he's the only one who does it right. And here's the uncomfortable part. He's completely correct about all of it. His work is the best on the site by a wide margin. This is exactly why he's like this and why nobody says anything. Number 12, the guy who talks about leaving. He's getting out. He's got a plan. He's going to start his own thing or move into sales or go somewhere warmer and do something with his hands, but different hands. He has been telling you this for 6 years. You have both quietly understood for at least 4 of those years that neither of you is going anywhere. You will both retire from this trade. He knows. You know he knows. And you will never once say it out loud because the talking about it is load-bearing, and you're not the kind of guy who removes a load-bearing wall. Number 13, the guy who brings the wrong lunch every day. He packs it himself. It is always slightly wrong in a way that's hard to articulate. A sandwich with no condiments of any kind. Cold spaghetti in a plastic container with no fork. One time it was just a bag of shredded cheese, and he ate the entire thing looking straight ahead at nothing. Nobody asks anymore. Somebody asked once years ago, and the answer was unsettling enough that an unspoken agreement formed across the whole crew to never raise the subject again. And then there's the last one, the guy who actually knows everything. Every crew has exactly one. He's quiet. He doesn't correct people unless it genuinely matters. He doesn't tell stories about how good he is, which is how you know. But when something goes truly sideways, when nobody can figure out why the system isn't doing what the plans clearly say it should do, everyone stops and turns and looks at him without discussing it first. And he walks over, looks at it for about 8 seconds, and says one sentence that solves the entire thing. Then he goes back to what he was doing. He has been carrying this crew for years and has never once brought it up. So which one are you? Be honest. You already know. Everyone knows their own number the second they hear it. And here's the part nobody tells you about this list. You don't stay the same one forever. The apprentice who asks 0 questions becomes the guy who's always almost done. The guy who talks about leaving becomes the guy who was here when they built this. Everyone is moving through these slowly without noticing, and if you're lucky and you pay attention and you put in the years, you might eventually become that last guy. Quiet, certain, carrying the crew. Nobody will ever thank you for it. That's how you'll know you made it. Drop your number in the comments, tag the guy on your crew who's number 2, and don't forget to like and subscribe.